was too low. Theme song in 3, 2, 1, go. And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs and Business podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Jobs and Business podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Here we are. This is episode 105. It's a day late. Why? Mostly because I only had one story or one thing to talk about. I didn't want to talk about how many jobs were lost in February. It was too much. Well, not too much. It was too little. And then the other thing that I had. So then so yesterday afternoon. Not during work hours. Yesterday afternoon. Again, not during work hours. It was late at night. I decided to. I said I'm not going to do it today. I was hold off. And as soon as I decided that, I found two stories, and then I said, great, this is perfect for tomorrow. Oh, what else? What's been going on in the world of jobs and business? Well, this Warner Brothers thing is still going on. Not one person should be excited. Like, it's just going to be a shit show, I think. No. I just came back from a walk with Maverick, the dog. There's something going on with him where he's always been anxious, which is joyous. And it has gotten so much. It has not gotten better, but it's not gotten worse. It's definitely not level. And I don't know if it's because when it was cooler out, we didn't go on as long of walks or as many walks, but we definitely went on walks. The majority of the days that I did not take him to the dog park, the majority of the days that we were out, not at the dog park and on the streets, just hanging out on the sidewalks, as people do, were tracked as walks. Check my Strava. I did that specifically so I could have, and if it was over a mile, it was tracked by Strava, which was my minimum. So we had at least 2 or 3 of those a week, like minimum 2 over a mile, on the cusp of 2 at points walks, and now and I promise I'll get to the jobs and business stuff. But I can't save this for the Constitutionals, which is the entertainment business news podcast, which is a little bit more loosey-goosey. But now as the warmer months are happening, and also as he's getting older, and by older he's 3, he needs more energy expended. In the same, like when he was a puppy, you could do that, but like you could do so many things in this apartment. But now he's a little bit bigger. He's about 60-ish pounds, and he has a lot of energy in him. The same thing with the fucking kitten. There's a new cat in this. Obviously you've seen him on the video. If you watch the video, you've seen the cat. But it's so crazy. The amount of energy in this household. And I wake up at 3:45 in the morning. So the amount of energy in this household is just staggering. And none of us are on the same wavelength at times. So anyway, as the warmer months are coming, between March and last year was November because it was still hot in November. But between March and October, I usually take him out for a run at the end of the day, so that he could expend some energy. And it's not that far. It's, again, over a mile. Just a little over a mile, then we come back. So in total, it's been... I will say the last 2 were longer because he was pissing me off. And I was like, well, I'm going to make your ass tired. And by doing that, when I come back and I feed him and the cat, and it's time for them to eat, Um, they eat. He eats. And then he'll be out of breath. Like on today's Wednesday. On Monday, I took him out for the run. I came back and I fed him after. He was we walked in. He's like, and then I got the food out, and he starts eating the food as he's like breathing. He's not like on the verge of choking, but he's just like the craziest thing. And then he'll pass out at like 8:30. It's wonderful. Sleep. Not that I've had issues with him now, past the age of 2, waking up in the middle of the night, hanging out and doing stuff. Because he used to do that. And now this kitten does. She's a kitten. She's not a cat. She's a kitten, which is so much energy. And now, and he usually does. Now she does that. All right, let's get into this. Whatever I'm talking about, so I can eat lunch. Not that this is being recorded during the day, not during the workday. This comes from the New York Times. It is written by Katie Robertson. USA Today names Jamie Stockwell as the next top editor. This is the third person in 3 years to take on this position. Jamie Stockwell, if you are in the news world, you should know, is a former editor at the Washington Post and the New York Times. And now Ms. Stockwell is going to be in charge of USA Today. USA Today they've had a rocky relationship with their editors with the people in charge as of late. Stockwell is going to hold the title of Vice President of News rather than the traditional editor-in-chief label, said the company. Gannett changed its name to USA Today Company. Ugh. They're the largest newspaper publisher in the country. They have more than 200 local newspapers across almost every state. Stockwell said that because of this intersection of national and local journalism, that is a quote from Katie Robertson herself, Stockwell said that they have, quote, extraordinary reach. Look at me referencing things. The company plans to focus on how to meet audiences where they are in the time when reading habits and technology are evolving. USA Today's website is just, and I'm going to use this word not lightly, atrocious. I do not like going to the USA Today website. They have never been a source of news for me, and they will continue to not be. And reading one of the few all color newspapers, and I'm not talking about colored. I know they're not colored because they wouldn't hire me. I know one person that works there. And if I recall correctly, when I was at WXIA, 11 Alive News, the NBC News affiliate here in Atlanta, Georgia, they also operated out of the same small building, the same 2-story building over there. And what is the neighborhood? It's halfway to Buckhead. Anyway, I hated going there. It is halfway to Buckhead, isn't it? I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Yeah. It's off of Lenox, and it's right next to where 75, 85, and 400 all converge. It's in a great place for a news station, not for people to live. It's a horrible place for people to live. There's houses on like a very busy street. And getting stuck behind a moving truck is just interminable. I remember when I was there, I know I've said this before, I've mentioned this story, this anecdote countless times, but when the highway collapsed here in Atlanta, I was working that night, and I was working on that late one night. I have to hurry up. I'm so hungry. Who references the Monster Mash outside of Halloween? Okay, anyway, I was working there that night, and I took in between shows, I took my meal break. And I was sitting on the roof because they had a little patio thing on the roof. And I was sitting on the roof and I was eating. Oh, it wasn't lunch. I guess it was dinner. And I was eating and I saw this plume of smoke come from the highway. Just a giant plume. And I thought, oh, it must have been a bad crash. You working the news. Oh, somebody's dead. And it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I remember looking at it and going, whoa, this is wild. I finished my dinner. I go downstairs. Everybody is watching TV. and now we have a helicopter over that they shared with Fox 5. And now there's a helicopter. Now we have a helicopter floating over it. We go out, then we go outside, and we just see, just so many cars stopped, and I'm like, this is wild. And all the reporters that were there are just dispersed out to running around the neighborhood, asking questions. People running up to people in their cars, and I remember distinctly watching on television with Jeff Hollinger, who I guess was anchoring that night. But I remember it was me, him, and some other people all standing around a big TV screen, and someone's talking, and we're all just like chiming in and everything, and then with the helicopter over it, watching this fire explosion, we all watched the highway literally collapse, just collapse. So the explosion was like fuel for the GDOT ambulances. But I remember we watched it collapse and we went, whoa. Also, during the initial Black Lives Matter protests in like 2018, I think, some anti-Trump protests, I don't know, downtown. I was also working that night. And again, standing around watching the TV, helicopter over, watching it just get bigger and bigger, and then like tear gas be dispersed, and we're all just reacting. Oh my gosh. And then I was at CNN during the after the Hawaii fires, and October 7th Hamas attacks. Crazy. 9/11, I was supposed to go to the dentist. Instead, I was taken home by my mom. Very true. Oh my gosh. Jamie Stockwell is the third person to be named the top editor of USA Today in the past 3 years. Karen Bohan abruptly departed in December after just a year on the job. Terrence Samuel left suddenly in July 2024 after a year. Jesus Christ. Well, Jamie, you got your work cut out for you. You got your work cut out for you. Now, Stockwell was laid off from the Washington Post, so she was the executive local editor. So she is fit for this. She helped cover one of the most important cities for one of the most important publications, and to be working for a local publication a national publication on a local level is just something that fits well for the USA Today brand. So hopefully they can turn it around. USA Today is doing somewhat decently. It generated a positive net income for 2025 for the first time since its merger in 2019 with Gatehouse Media. And if you've been paying attention, they also had a bunch of layoffs and cost cutting themselves. But they hired, didn't USA Today hire a Taylor Swift correspondent? It's fucking dumb. It also reported a decrease in digital-only paid subscribers from 1.95 million in 2024 to 1.37 million in 2025. Though the average revenue per user increased in that period with higher subscription pricing. Good luck, Jamie Stockwell. This next one comes from Variety, written by Gene Mattis. WGA to seek payment for AI training on scripts as talks with studios set to begin. I believe it's either this week or next week. The conversations are about to begin between the Writers Guild of America and studios. Yes, it feels like this just happened a couple of years ago because it did. Remember, the strikes lasted for 148 days. And Then they said everything, and it's been a year and a half since the end of the strike, something like that. That was so long. That was like a very long strike. Not like it was a very long strike. But now things have changed in the recent upswing of AI use. Last fall, Disney allowed its characters to appear in user generated Sora videos, showing the issue is not going away. If you remember, that deal was for the characters themselves, not the voices. But again, if, Bill Farmer, is it Bill Farmer who's the voice of Goofy? If I'm right, oh, that's an issue. His name is Bill Farmer. That's so sad, Chad. So if Bill Farmer, if his Goofy character, he's been Goofy forever. If his Goofy character is being used, he should get paid. But Disney owns the look of the character, and if they're not using his voice, then they can do whatever they want with the look. John August, the co-chair of the WGA negotiating committee, and author of a lot of books, and he's written TV shows and movies, and he hosts a podcast with Blowhard, Craig Mazin. I used to listen to that podcast, and I started disliking Craig Mazin. August said on Tuesday that the union will seek to affirm the principle that writers should be paid for derivative uses of their work, including AI training. In the last go-around, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers refused to accept any limitations on the use of scripts, which they own, to train AI models. This morning, I saw a story on Today's Show and on Good Morning America and CBS Mornings and CNN Morning, so you know what my YouTube TV four quadrant thing looks like. About Tilly Norwood, that AI actress. The company behind her created a don't come for me, Tilly, I swear to God. There was a more hold on, I'll say that in a second. They created a music video for her, and then I heard a clip on the Today Show. I did not want to click on the link, but I heard a clip on Today Show, and I went, "Oh, this is not good." But there was a moment where I was watching that music video, and I went, "I would." Oh my goodness. Now, also, this comes from I have a new story coming from Katie Kilkenny at the Hollywood Reporter. Writers Guild's top negotiators are willing to play hardball this time too. Joining August in the negotiating room are Ellen Stutzman, Michelle Mulroney, and Danielle Sanchez-Witzel. They sat down for these interviews to talk about what they are going to be asking for, requesting, and requiring from these studios. These conversations are going to be long, and they're going to be tough, and you have to have people willing to back you up. I wonder if they could change this system now that TV has gone through a bunch of phases, and it's been like this for a very long time. Peak TV is when I think it probably should have changed, but there was enough work to go around so that people didn't have to that even if they were getting quote unquote screwed, they could at least make up for it because there were 1,000 new TV shows coming out every year at some point. 900 or so new TV shows, new scripted TV shows coming out every year, and that number kept increasing. And then the pandemic hit, obviously, but it just seems like, man, you should always want people to get paid. But the reason I mentioned the Tilly Norwood thing is because it was very important that the people, there were a bunch of artists, including Scarlett Johansson and others. I can't remember anybody else, but who signed, like 700 artists who signed this keep AI out of our work thing, this pledge. And then we saw, you remember what's her name, Emily Blunt being shown a video or a, yeah, clip of Tilly Norwood saying, and she's saying, "Oh my gosh, this is scary. Like we are screwed." People. You have to protect people's jobs in the same way that you want to protect the auto plant workers' jobs, the manufacturing job. You should also want to protect the people who are making the music and the movies and the TV shows and the video games, because it is something that can be abused, and these people can, be taken advantage of, and we'll have a lesser product. Last night I saw the movie Hoppers on from Disney Pixar's Hoppers, and it was excellent. It was fantastic. It was very original. It was very funny, and I'm sure at some point in that movie there was a use of an AI generative tool, not for writing and not for creative purposes, but maybe to, I don't know, there's a scene with a crowd, so maybe to recreate faces in a crowd on a minuscule level, on a micro level, or ants, because there's ants in the movie. So maybe for that, but to differentiate them and make the movement smooth or whatever. And I'm not saying that there is. I'm saying maybe there are, but however, we can't rely on these things all the time. And when it comes to the WGA and the DGA and the Producers Guild, the music's, the academies, all that stuff, it's important that these people get these protections, that everybody gets protections, including the white collar jobs as well. So check out these interviews. They talk about AI, and which is the biggest issue right now. And when asked about it, specifically, does AI do something that writers find useful? John August replies, "As we talk to our members, we don't see our members using AI to do their work, because there's no point in typing in a prompt and saying, write a movie about a girl who gets her brain put into a beaver robot," because that wouldn't put out the same movie. It wouldn't put out the same idea of what Hoppers is. Also, when I'm tracking what I watch this year on IMDb, and when I went to add Hoppers this morning to my IMDb list, the one of the tags was like artificial intelligence, and I went, there's no way AI had anything to do in that story. Like it was like part of the genre, I guess, but there's no way. All that movie talked about was science and having a sense of home. That's it. There was this does not ruin the movie in any sense. The little girl's parents leave her with her grandma. She grows up to be a 19, I guess, like that for the remainder of the movie. But she's like, I'm gonna stay with grandma, and then her parents go and move across the country, and we never hear from them again. And I got home last night and I was washing the dishes, and I remembered that, and I went, God, those parents sucked. They're like, move across the country with us, and she's like, no, and they're like, bye, and they left. Oh my gosh. August does continue. Where we do see the companies using AI is largely in the things that are visible to everybody, like tile recommendations on the streaming services. We see them using it in post-production and visual effects, but not the kind of work that writers are doing. Again, the company that I work for, that I had to bleep out last week, I didn't have to, but I chose to. The company that I work for, the television network I work for, or networks, they are tooling around with using an AI tool that is truly meant to be additive to the editor's workflows. And in that, it's literally they are, and also the editors are making fun of it. It's so funny. But it's literally, they're like, create explosion that goes up and does this, blah, blah, blah. Because they're making, I'll just say it. They're making commercials, more or less. But again, I work for a network. And like, or like cutting trailers or what have you. So like they're like make explosion, cut it off at the edges, blah blah blah. And even still in the discussions that I'm seeing, it's just not working very well. Well, it's working. It's not working in the way that the AI company would probably want it to work. But it's additive. So we're not completely against it. It's just something that is literally, it's like on a keyboard. I'm looking at the function row. It's turning up the brightness on this keyboard, turning up the brightness on the screen, pressing play, showing all windows, hiding all windows. That's one thing about Mac I enjoy, is that I can just press a button and it takes me to the desktop. Whereas for Windows, I have to or I can go to a hot corner. I can make a hot corner for all that. Anyway, read both of these interviews. They cover largely the same thing, but I do believe that Katie Kilkenny for Hollywood Reporter and Gene Mattis for Variety, respectively, ask good questions in regards to this, and I couldn't cover it all, mostly because I'm hungry. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, and I had a lot of digressions. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people. I just put out an interview with The Daily Show writer Matt Koff. He has a new special out. Check it out. Listen to it watch that interview on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can also see a video version of this show as well as a video version of the other shows. The Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News podcast show, and Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. And listen to the interviews under the Constitutionals. Follow us on social media at C Plus Comedy. Listen to those shows wherever you get podcasts. Follow social media at C Plus Comedy on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Me on those platforms at Chad Blackwhite. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye.